live here from the McCray County Public Library. My name is Brady Wilson, the director. I've got the distinct privilege tonight of introducing Ms. Darlene Price, someone who really doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to introduce her anyway. Darlene Price, as you all know, is a highly experienced investigative reporter with over 4 decades of investigative experience. She served as a captain in the U.S. Army Military Police Corps, also as a special agent with U.S. Customs Service, where she served on several high-level narcotics and money laundering task forces. Also as a private criminal defense investigator handling high-profile drug and murder cases, and also as an investigative reporter for the television and internet show Truth or Politics. Her dedication and exceptional performance have earned her numerous awards and commendations, including the U.S. Army Commendation Medal for Excellence in Service, as well as a nationally recognized whistleblower. Darlene has testified before Congress on government corruption and earned a law degree from Taft Law School. So Darlene is going to kind of talk about her new book while no one was watching. And we're just asking if anyone's got questions. We're going to save those for the end. And you'll notice on most of the tables we have pen and paper. So if you have a question while Darlene's talking, just if you would just jot that question down, and at the end we'll collect them and we'll give them to Darlene. So without any further ado, Ms. Darlene Price.
Thank you. For those that have to kind of leave early, you can go ahead and write questions down and give them to Grady and fire them away. First, I want to say thank you to this library and Grady and Holly and everybody. This is an amazing library. This library is not just a library; it is a community center. They have everything from yoga, needlework. I mean, you name it, they have it here at this place. And it's just, and they have amazing reading programs for kids. They have kids, you know, little bitty kids, all up, little tiny kids reading books. And, you know, it's just amazing the programs they have. And they have a lot of, you know, for adult programs for, you know, elderly folks and computer programs. They have it all here. It's not just, I told Grady has got to change the name, the McCray County Library, to the McCray County Library and Community Center, because it's just, that's what it is. And we're grateful that we have it. Well, I'm supposed to first talk about the book, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, what is it, bass backwards? I'm going to talk about something that's a severe threat to all of us, and even in Pulaski County, going on right now, and it's important to talk about this. We have a potential for a 700-acre landfill that a company called Bearcat Industries is trying to put into Scott County. Why is this a problem? This is a problem because Bear Creek runs right through it, okay? The existing landfill, little tiny 40-acre landfill, is already having leachate problems. It has already had a major violation into Bear Creek, and they're trying to correct that now, but that's already a problem. What we do not need is a 700-acre landfill that this guy's going to truck in trash from all over the United States. He's trying to do the rail, and he's going to bring it in rail, and he's trying at this point to piggyback on a 40-acre permit, a 10-year-old permit. The good news is TDEC, which that's the Tennessee Department of Ecological something. It's like Tennessee Water District, but it's called something else. Anyway, you probably know what it is.
Environmental, I think.
Tennessee Department of Environmental something. Anyway, they have held up this permit so far. What has happened is, unlike the fight that I had up in Somerset, which the young man right back there was the biggest help ever, man. Mr. Shoemaker, raise your hand, Mr. Shoemaker. That young man right there helped me big time in that fight up there. And we got the leachate stopped up there, but it wasn't until after, over 60 million gallons came in and ran through a defective wastewater treatment plant right into the Cumberland River. Bear Creek runs right into the Cumberland River eventually. It's going to go through the Lake Cumberland and the Cumberland River, okay? We do not need this. You know, can you imagine the amount of leachate that would be generated from a 700-acre landfill? Folks, that's enough to really, you know, and I know they're going to say, oh, it'll be safe. There is no safe thing for leachate. And, you know, it's just the potential. Why would you take a chance? He needs to take that somewhere else, because if it does leak out, if it does further contaminate Bear Creek and Lake Cumberland, you know, we're talking the big South Fork, you know, Somerset, you know, this area just thrives on tourism. This could destroy us. So these people, you know, they're from out of town, you know, they don't care about the environment, they're there to make money. That's what they're there to do. He's already threatened to sue, he's already filed a suit against TDEC. The good news is, unlike the fight I had up in Somerset where I had the government against me and the state of Kentucky complicit, unlike that, the city of Oneida, the city of Huntsville, the county government, and the McCreary County Physical Court and our government up here, they have all joined forces in a coalition to stop this, to stop it. And that's, my husband's not here right now because they're in a meeting right now, giving the approval to, they're all going to split the cost of hiring a high-powered lawyer, because this guy's probably going to pull this in the federal court, and it's going to be a battle. So we're hoping so far TDEC has not issued a permit. And last night, yesterday's meeting at noon, Mr. Horner said the permit has already been issued. We've already started work. That's not true. We got a hold of TDEC. The head guy at TDEC said there has not been a permit issued. So right there tells you kind of the integrity of this man. Secondly, the big issue I kept throwing at him, what are you going to do with your leachate? What are you going to, he said, we're going to have a company called Safety Clean. So I call Safety Clean undercover and, you know, act like I'm, you know, potential customer. Safety Clean does not handle leachate. So right there, another potential integrity problem with this guy. So the fight is on. This time, I'm not there, just me and him fighting against, you know, a giant wave and getting crashed basically every week in front of the city council. But, you know, that old saying, you can't fight the city dog. Yeah, you can, because we did it, didn't we? We did it, and we're going to try to do it again, but we're going to need everybody's help. And there's going to be a civilian coalition. That meeting's going to be next Tuesday, I think it is. It's going to be at 6 o'clock in Oneida. If you guys can all show up, what we're going to do is we're going to form a citizens coalition as well, called Save Bear Creek Coalition. And because a citizens coalition can also act outside of the county and the city municipalities, and they can act as a unit too and do certain things. So this is super important. You know, I'll answer any questions as best I can about this. I truly believe that this is a potential disaster for McCreary County and Pulaski County. That's what I think. And I'm not the only one who thinks this. All the heads of the governing bodies and, you know, and Scott County and McCreary County all met yesterday, and they're all in agreement. They're ponying up some big money for an attorney to fight this. So, and it needs to. We need to fight this. Anybody got any questions? Go.
Can you better explain the leaching?
Okay, leachate. What is leachate? That's right. I assume everybody knows what this stuff is. Okay. All landfills create what's called leachate. Okay. What happens is all your household stuff, and if it's demolition waste, that's even worse. It gets piled into the landfill, right? And as the crap settles, okay, think about this. Think about like a railroad tie is treated with creosote. Okay, carpet fibers and stuff is treated with, you know,
paint cans, oil cans.
That's it.
Cans.
You know, all this stuff has what's called PFOS, PFOs, PFOAs. Okay, what is that? Okay, a long time ago, in a Frankenstein lab far, far away, a company by the name of 3M invented this horrible stuff for military purposes. Why? Because in Vietnam and the Korean War, they couldn't keep the machinery dry. You know, their guns were jamming, the troops were getting wet, trench foot. So they came up with this stuff called first it was C6, and it waterproofed everything. Waterproofed everything. Oh my God, it works great. The problem was CM, or 3M, the company, as they were manufacturing, and all the people in the lab and the scientists, they were all dying. Horrible deaths. But oh, we can make big money off of this. So they hid it. They totally lied and hid it, and they cooked the books. So DuPont comes out and says, wow, look at this stuff, you know? We could put this in every home in the United States. You ever heard of a little thing called Teflon, right? And all your little spray stuff, the water stuff, all your hunting gear that's, you know, that's waterproof and everything, all your carpet that's, you know, Scotch Guard. Remember that? Scotch Guard? Okay, that stuff is deadly. Anybody who's ever used Armor All on the front of your car, your dashboard, okay, what happens? The sun hits that, and you get this fog. And that stuff's real hard to clean off, right? It fogs up on your windshield. Not only are you breathing that, and it's deadly, look how hard that is to get off your windshield. That's C8. That stuff is deadly. We've been trying for years now to get this outlawed in this country. Finally, the federal EPA finally got enough laws passed to where this is how bad it is. It is clearly stated by the federal EPA, there are no safe levels of PFAS in drinking water. Let me repeat that. There are no safe levels. Used to be one little tiny drop in a swimming pool was a safe level. That's not even acceptable now. This is how carcinogenic this stuff is. This is what is loaded in these landfills. Not just PFAS, also asbestos. These big landfills, and you can bet he's going to be accepting 700 acres, he's going to be accepting what's called demolition waste. Think about these old buildings being blown up. Think about the asbestos in there. That's another thing that doesn't break down, highly carcinogenic. Okay, who wants to swim in asbestos? Raise your hand. Nobody, because somebody did it when I did that up there. Like X idiots. I literally at the city council meeting, packed with people. Raise your hand if you want to swim in asbestos. And some moron that was a butt kisser to Mayor Kett raised her hand. I just looked back and I'm like, you're so stupid. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff that's in landfills. And when rain hits these landfills, all that stuff disintegrates and it goes into what's called leachate. The federal EPA and state EPAs have said you have to capture this. It is toxic waste, and you have to dispose of it correctly. The problem with this disposing it correctly is one of the major ways they've been disposing with this leachate, especially in Kentucky, and it's just horrible. They've been running this stuff through what's called wastewater treatment plants. Different municipalities' wastewater treatment plants. What's wrong with that? No wastewater treatment plant is designed to filter out PFAS, asbestos, any of that stuff. It's just not. It's not. And what's happened now, because the state of Kentucky has been complicit and corrupt, and I'm very comfortable saying that, I've got the documents to prove it, in allowing this to happen, and they knew about it. Just like DuPont knew they were killing people, 3M knew they were killing people, they paid out billions. 3M, the last lawsuit said, was $33 billion. Folks, you ain't paying, that ain't chump change. You ain't paying out that kind of money in lawsuits. You ain't done something wrong, big time. That's how deadly this stuff is. So, rest assured, come on in, you're fine. So rest assured, that's how deadly this stuff is, and the state of Kentucky has been complicit in allowing this and knowing about this, that it should not be running through the wastewater treatment plants, and they're letting it happen. Okay, well, 2 years ago, the state of Kentucky, Fish and Game came out, and I posted this many times, don't eat the fish. They're loaded with PFAS. You know, we've got a don't eat the fish thing all across the state of Kentucky. You know, this is what your state legislators, you should fire every one of them. This is your state representatives, your state senators. They've known about this. The state water district knew about this. They have done nothing to protect you, and they're still not. You know what the state of Kentucky did? The state of Kentucky turned around and filed a federal lawsuit, Commonwealth versus DuPont, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for DuPont to come and clean their waterways up. Well, you know what? I'm not excusing DuPont. They're murderers, know that, okay? And they deserve to have to pay lawsuits. In fact, the CEOs of these companies should be in prison. But the state of Kentucky is complicit in this. They knew about it, and now they're going to sue DuPont. Fortunately, a lot of municipalities are waking up to this. If you look, Northern Kentucky, I forget what the town is up there, they're suing not only DuPont, they're suing the state of Kentucky because a lot of the documents that I provided them and Cynthiana, they got in stock, they're suing the state of Kentucky because they've done this. And your state legislatures have done nothing to stop this. So you need to find out who your state representatives are, your state senators are, and they need to be fired. You need to, because they have done nothing to protect our water, lakes, rivers, and streams here in Kentucky from this horrible mess. Done nothing. So, any questions about that? And then I'll talk a little bit about the book. I know I'm supposed to talk about the book, but this is so important. Go ahead.
How about the, since they're doing 700 acres, they're probably going to be spraying the land to get rid of the forever chemicals.
Well, that's called leach farming. Good question. I asked him that. He said, no, we're not leach farming. We're going to bring in that company, Safety Clean. Well, guess what? You know, I don't want to call him a flat-out liar, but I called Safety Clean, and they flat-out said, we do not handle leachate. So, and he said that at that meeting yesterday in front of God and everybody, and I called. So, the other way to get rid of leachate is called leach farming, okay? It's horrible, too. What's supposed to happen is you load the leachate up into these big, 8,000-gallon tanker trucks. You go to the leach farm. The federal EPA says these leach farms, it's supposed to be a big piece of land. Nowhere are they allowed to be near any kind of water table, any lakes, rivers, or streams, right? Mm-hmm. So what they're supposed to do is put the sprayers on, and if you sprinkle this stuff evenly across the land, the sun hits it, osmosis, some kind of bull crap, and then it gets rid of leachate. Okay, I think that's BS. I don't think it does anything. But here's what we caught them doing, and I got film of this. We caught one of the leach farms right there in Kentucky, the truck pulling up, undoing the spigot, and 8,000 gallons right to the ground. Okay, nobody's monitoring this. Your lakes, rivers, and streams, your beautiful state of Kentucky, all of us are being poisoned. That's what's happening. And the state water district knows it, that, and they filed suit. In the lawsuit against DuPont, they actually say, they mention specific landfills and leachate. So, they know. They've known about this since 2019. I started emails that I have a documentary called, thank you Michael Mann for helping me do this documentary. He put so much work into this. It's called Lake Cumberland, What Really Lies Beneath. Go to YouTube, watch that documentary. You'll see where I started in 2019, sending them notifications. And you'll see the email back from the head idiot up there at the Kentucky Water District, this attorney. No, we're not checking for PFAS, and we're not going to. It's like, oh, okay. And, they're still not. They're suing DuPont. They know it's bad. We can't eat the fish, but, we're turning a blind eye to this. Let's just do this because we're too stupid to fix the problem. And that's your state lawmakers and your governor. Sorry, but this governor and the one prior, they've known about this. And this ain't partisan. Okay, both parties have failed miserably at this, both parties. And it's not just here in Kentucky. We're about to see how good Tennessee is. The fight is on. It's on. So we'll see. Did I answer your thing about? Okay.
Is the National Park Service not getting involved in this?
Me and many others are begging them to get involved in this. They shouldn't be involved in this. So far,
directly into the South Florida.
Well, welcome to the federal government. I spent 20 years for the federal government, and that story is here. How corrupt the federal government is. I'm not saying that the head of the park down here is. What happens is that person down there at the head of the Big South Fork, they got a boss.
Yeah.
Really. And that boss is going to answer to whatever. And they're not going to get involved. They need to get involved. Okay? It could be all their jobs. It could be the end of Big South Fork. It's not going to take much to poison Big South Fork. 700 acres. This is bad.
How do they propose to get rid of medical waste and radioactive medical waste?
Good question. Medical waste is some of the most dangerous stuff too.
Right,
These cancer centers, he's going to be trucking this stuff in from everywhere. Think about the cancer treatments. Think about the chemicals and cancer treatments.
That stuff leaks down into the ground a
It's
long
going to leach right down into the leachate through the, when they start throwing all this stuff away, it's going to leach right down.
It's still sink into the waterways underground.
Exactly. This is, I said this and I got quoted this, Knoxville News that interviewed me and also Knoxville Radio and up here. I'll say this again. In the history of bad ideas, this maybe is not the worst, but it's one of the worst. That's for sure. This is a bad idea. This is a dangerous idea. Anybody else think about that?
I just want to comment, I feel like we already have enough carcinogens in our earth and in our waters that we don't need to add additional.
Right,
Right,
right. No.
we're taking showers with too, you know?
Not only is it gonna affect this area around here, it's gonna affect people all the way down Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, yeah. Bear Creek flows into Lake Cumberland, which flows into the Cumberland River, all the way down to Nashville. So, this is bad, and we, please, contact your state rep, your state senator, contact anybody, and you guys need to make, I'm telling you, how we got it stopped up there in Somerset is when the citizens showed up, and the citizens raised hell. That's what really got stopped. Sorry.
We have to go. I'm very interested.
We're gonna read all about
We'll be
it.
able to see you though on what, YouTube or something?
Yeah, this is gonna be on YouTube. All right. Any more questions about the 700-acre potential poisoning? I think so, Anna. You're welcome. You guys be careful.
We will.
Anybody else? 700-acre or thing? Okay, now, I know I wasn't supposed to, a book signing thing, you're supposed to talk about your book, but this was so important, folks. I just had to hijack it, and it is kind of relative to this book, because one of the big stories in this book, Mr. Shoemaker back there, my fellow fighting warrior there up there in Somerset, is about the fight we had up with Somerset. Mayor Keck, the mayor of Somerset, the head moron of Somerset, as I call him, the mayor and his minions. He thought, first off, he knew absolutely they had a highly defective wastewater treatment plant. How defective? They were getting violations left and right. I mean, these violations actually said, and that's one of the big stories in this book, that your leachate is your wastewater treatment plant effluent, the effluent, that's what comes out right into Pittman Creek, which flows into Lake Cumberland. It's so bad, we could fine you $250,000 every day, okay? And this went on for years. They kept threatening him. Never got a fine. They let him get away with this for years. I had experts come in and look at the testing, and by the way, never did test for PFAS or asbestos or anything. Just the testing for E. coli was off the charts. I had experts come in and say they should have shut down Pittman Creek. There's no way anybody should be in Pittman Creek, okay? It was so bad, he asked for loans, and he got grants and loans, a combination of grants and loans, by the way, which taxpayers have to pay interest on, for right around $10 million. That's how bad that wastewater treatment plant was. So, what did he decide to do? He decided to bring in, by the time we got it stopped, over 60 million gallons of leachate and run it through that defective wastewater treatment plant, right into Pittman Creek, right into Cumberland River. And the young man back there, Mr. Shoemaker, fought with me, and from, getting up in front of one city council meeting after another, got called names, everything. But it took us like 2 years, and we did the documentary. Please go watch it. It's called Lake Cumberland, What Really Lies Beneath. It's on YouTube. It goes into the whole story about this and all the documents. And what it also shows is how complicit the state of Kentucky, the state water district, the state EPA was into allowing not just Mayor Keck, but Mayor Kecks all across the state of Kentucky poison our waterways. Go ahead, Michael.
And they're trying to bring it back.
Here's what you need to do. Go to your doctor and have him test all of you. I highly encourage you, you're going to have to go to Lexington to get this done. Go have your blood tested for PFAS, PFOs, PFOAs, forever chemicals. They're called forever chemicals for a reason. You really need to have that done. That's nasty stuff, and they can detect it in a blood test.
I wonder how safe our well water is.
I don't know. I will say this. Our McCreary County Water District, Steve Whitaker, he's been on top of this from the beginning. When we started finding out about this stuff in 2019, he got experts in. He helped me, and he got me connected to experts to do this. He is actively on the coalition to try to get the 700-acre thing stopped. McCreary County Water District is ahead of the state of Kentucky because they've already, been testing and doing the filtering and everything for PFAS. Head of the ballgame. In fact, I think Steve Whitaker needs to take over the state water district. Okay, my publisher will kill me if I don't talk about this book a little bit. So, there's one kind of paragraph in this book that kind of assimilates, because this book is also about not just the corruption in Pulaski County, okay? And I just want to say this, as you read this book, and I say this in the book, I am not anti-government and I'm not anti-cop, okay? I still believe most cops are honest. Judge Whitaker up there in Somerset, she's going to be the saving grace of Pulaski County. We have a lot of honest people in government. Unfortunately, some are not. Too many of them are not. And the honest cops and the honest government officials hate this. On the Somerset City Council, we had, 3 of them up there fighting with us. They were fighting with us to try to get this. So, this book is a series of stories that investigative reporting stories that my little team that we put together with Trigger Politics did, mostly in Pulaski County, but I'm not picking on Pulaski County. Everything that's in this book about stolen evidence, missing evidence, but it's not just about Pulaski County. Pulaski County, there's things that are worse, and I also talk about, recently we had the shooting in London. You had a bunch of cops go out at midnight over a weed eater, because the weed eater was owned apparently by the county judge, bust down the wrong door, didn't verify the address, and shot this 64-year-old man dead.
Oh my God.
Okay, and then,
Over a weed eater?
yeah, and then, there certainly was a cover-up by Kentucky State Police in the missing evidence case that's in this book. And I got all the documents to prove that. That was absolutely covered up. That was a horrible investigation. I absolutely believe that it was slow-walked. It affected several criminal cases. And that is a problem, folks. That's a problem. Evidence is important. Crime scenes are important. And if you don't process a crime scene correctly, the wrong people go to jail. And that's a lot of what's going on in the state of Kentucky. So as we sit here today in the state of Kentucky, no evidence room in the state of Kentucky has to be inspected by any outside agency or anybody. Let me repeat that. There's no laws or regulations that state that evidence rooms, the evidence rooms that could put you in prison forever, DNA evidence, everything. No laws and regulations.
Drugs and guns.
Drugs, guns, and everything. So what we found in Pulaski County, and I'm not just picking on Pulaski County, because guess what? Kentucky State Police had 3 state troopers, one of them a sergeant. They were evidence custodians. They blew the whistle on KSP. KSP retaliated against them so bad, they filed a lawsuit and won $900,000, okay? A whistleblower lawsuit, and rightfully so. Then our Kentucky courts overturned it, okay? What these guys went through was horrible. Here's the problem. Your lawmakers have done nothing to fix this. And in this book, I talk about this, how this affected a murder case. I was the criminal defense investigator for Jim Cox, an attorney out of Somerset. I worked with him a lot. I worked with him on 3 murder cases. And the job, or the lack of investigation on a murder investigation by Pulaski County Sheriff's Department was appalling. And then what came into play was the key investigator was also, oh, by the way, he was also the prime suspect in the missing evidence of the evidence room. We're talking pages of evidence, DNA evidence, guns, bullets, rape kits. All this evidence for like 5 years had been reported missing, and nobody did anything. Finally, an outsider, an accountant, found out that, oh, by the way, there's money missing. Then they had to report the money. Well, at the time, the KSP, the guy was the sheriff, Speck. He was a former KSP commander. And then he became sheriff of Pulaski County when all this went on, or part of it. He only reported the money. He just forgot about all this missing evidence. And I had all the memos going to him saying, oh, by the way, FYI, there's evidence missing too. And he didn't report that. So, the main investigator up there, who's the lead suspect in the missing evidence case, he's assigned to a murder case and totally botches it. And I go into detail how he botches it. So I've got to read this part right here for my editorial opinion. It is important to understand that for the most part, crossing the line for any public official or police officer usually does not happen overnight. Oftentimes it begins with bending the rules just a little bit, then in increments. Tiny steps over time, the rules are eroded. Officers and public officials are often way over the line before they even know it. Then they are trapped, and even if they want to find their way out, they don't know how. After that, it's about self-preservation, sometimes at all costs. That's when people get hurt. That's when people get killed. The main ingredients for this are usually a combination of lack of training, lack of oversight, and a culture of impunity. These ingredients are a recipe for disaster. That's pretty much what this book is about. It's a series of stories, investigative reporting stories, that primarily happen in Pulaski County. Again, I'm not picking on Pulaski County. This is going on all over the state of Kentucky. Your state legislatures have not enforced laws, that exist. Campaign finance laws in the state of Kentucky are not being enforced. They're just not, and they're not passing any new laws either. Bribery is alive and well for politicians in Kentucky, and I'm very comfortable saying that. And your state lawmakers aren't doing anything. That's what it comes down to. And it's the citizen. I want to tell a little story that's not in this book, but I'm sort of into martial arts. My son owns Somerset Martial Arts and Danville Martial Arts. I had to get out of it for a while because I hurt my shoulder. Not doing martial arts, doing other stupid stuff. But okay. I don't want to close with this, but I'll answer more questions. There is a Zen master one day. This is an old ancient story. The Zen master, he selects 1 or 2 Zen warriors to train to a higher level every year. Well, this one Zen warrior kept bugging him and saying, young Zen warrior, master, I'm ready to be trained. I'm ready to be trained. And the Zen master would say, go away, you're not ready. And he would keep coming back. One day, the young Zen warrior came to the Zen master and said, I'm ready. Come on, what else do I need to do? The Zen master grabbed him by the ear, walked him down to the lake. He said, get down on your knees. And he said, yes, master. So he got down on his knees. He took the young Zen warrior, shoved his face under the water and held him there. And he was struggling, he was drowning. And just before he was about to drown, the Zen master let the young Zen warrior up. He's like, oh God, why'd you do that? He goes, the Zen master said, answer me one question. While you were under that water and you thought you were dying, what did you need? And he goes, air. And he said, when you need truth and justice more than you need air, you'll be ready for your training. That's what's wrong in this country right now. We don't need truth and justice more than we need air. And maybe not more. But that's the story. This is what it's got to come to. We've got, citizens got to start showing up. What happened down in Scott County was amazing. That first couple of meetings, every meeting I've been to down there trying to get this stopped, there's been, anywhere from 50 to 200 people showing up, demanding that this be stopped. Up in Somerset, we started out small, had to take our abuse and everything, but by the time we got it finished, that last meeting, it was, what do you say, over 100 people there? A lot of people there, and we got it stopped. That's what it takes. It takes the citizens to care enough to want truth and justice as much as they want error. So any more questions? Any more questions?
I don't want somebody written down here.
Okay. Okay. What do you think is the most important news story not being covered? Okay, well, I'm going to shock all you guys, some of you maybe, most of you follow true politics. I think the most important story today, nationwide, actually worldwide, not being accurately covered, However, here lately it's been, is the UAP UFO story. Okay, why is that? Okay. Whether you believe that these UFOs, now they're called UAPs, whether you believe there's little green men or not, that's irrelevant. What has come out through these congressional hearings is the following. They started, a lot of video is leaked, okay, of these UFOs. The Pentagon has come out and authenticated these videos and said, this is official. A, these are real. B, we don't know what they are. And C, oh, by the way, we've lost $800 billion in 5 years and wasted your taxpayer money, and we still haven't figured this out. Okay? That should concern all of us. Not only that, they've had in 1 year over 300 incursions. This is verified. This is verified by NORAD, verified by NASA. This is verified. 60 Minutes has done 2 really good programs on this. The History Channel has done these programs on this. 300 incursions of a combination. Some of them are just drones. Some of them are military-grade drones that are not ours. The head of the Air Force has said these aren't ours. Okay? We're talking shutting down Langley. They had to shut down Langley, not once, but twice. Okay, 300 incursions over restricted airspace in 1 year. And then the other ones are, we don't know what the hell these things are. Okay? You've had fighter pilots now come forward, a rear admiral come forward, all of these whistleblowers have come forward, okay? And there's been testimony, at least 4 congressional hearings on this. And guess what? Your Pentagon, the heads of your military, have spent billions of your tax dollars, and the Pentagon has flunked 7 inspections, 7 of them, and can't find $800 billion. But yet, our Congress just voted to give a big increase in military funds. Okay, there's something wrong here, folks. When you're giving billions of dollars to protect us for our own airspace, and you got the leadership of the Air Force, NORAD, NASA, testifying, yep, this happened. We don't know what they are. We don't know whose they are. And we don't know what to do. What have you been doing with our money?
Foreign countries.
Well, and so what does your Congress do? They give them a big increase. They give them a bunch more money. To me, this is the biggest threat facing our country right now. When you have over 300, and this is verified, people, this is real, of incursions of our restricted airspace, okay? Most of it nuclear capability restricted airspace of whatever these are, okay? And I don't know what they are. Guess what? Guess who else doesn't know what they are? Pentagon. And they lose $800 billion. There's something wrong there.
I think they know what they are.
Well, this is another example of the federal government lying through their teeth and pocketing their money. And guess what? How many people from the Pentagon do you think were fired over this? Oh, that would be none. That ain't chump change. $800 billion. This is an inspector general inspections. They can't account for, in a 5-year period, $800 billion. And Congress gets up there and quizzes them. Go watch if you want to really get pissed off, go watch these congressional hearings. Just type in congressional hearings, UAP, UFO. It started in 2019. There's been 4 of them. Watch them bring these morons in front of Congress and the answers that they don't have. Well, and of course, some of the congressmen are getting pissed. Tim Burch is my hero from Tennessee. He's like, what have you been doing with our money? I mean, he voted against giving them more money. One of the few.
The whistleblowers are good.
The whistleblowers are
They
great.
got pilots, airline pilots, they got everybody.
Yeah, these are not nuts, okay? These are pilots. One of them is literally a rocket scientist. He is an aerospace engineer. He is a fleet commander of Top Gun pilots for the Navy. And him and 2 pilots, they've come forward. They've seen these. They tried to chase them. And he said, we don't have this capability. And other people who have testified, a rear admiral, all these people have testified, this ain't ours. And this ain't of this, they believe this is not of this world. You know what? We better hope these things are not China's or Russia's. If this technology, and it has been verified, this is real, these are real, period, okay? This technology, if it does belong to one of our foreign adversaries, we're toast, because we ain't got it. We don't have it. And we better be finding out what it is, because it is a race. It is an absolute race. Whoever gets this technology first wins, and it better be us. And guess what? Our Pentagon can't find $800 billion. This should scare everybody to death. Don't take my word for it. Go watch these congressional hearings. They've got, this has been, captured on multiple indices. We're talking FLIR. We're talking multiple radar indices, not just one, occasion, numerous occasions. Radar operators come forward. Now, finally, commercial pilots are coming forward. This is serious. They've had I don't know how many near misses of whatever these things are. So I'm hoping it's from another
I think they
world.
know where the money went. I think it's on top secret stuff. I think they're underground doing experimental
Yeah, but
stuff.
you know what?
I think our government has been doing.
There's people in jail right now, I know, because I put people in prison for this myself, for misappropriation of funds.
I think they know where it's.
When you're misappropriating these kind of funds, and you basically go and get in front of Congress and give them the middle finger and say, I don't have to tell you, you don't have the clearance. And that's what's happening, the Pentagon people, that's scary. That shows that there's a rogue element in our government that doesn't have to answer to anyone, that can lose $800 billion and nobody's fired. To me, this is the biggest story not being covered like it should be. Okay, I gotta say the History Channel, 60 Minutes has done some amazing work on it. They have. News Nation, Cuomo on News Nation, he has done a great job. Also, what's the guy who used to be on Fox News? O'Reilly.
Yeah.
O'Reilly, Bill O'Reilly and Cuomo, they're teaming up on this because they're worried. But your regular news, CNN, Fox, all of them, they'll say, oh yeah, there's another sighting, here's the video, it's real. And the marvelous weather it is, and it's like, hello, these things they're entering restricted airspace.
So you think Fox Mulder was right?
Do I?
Fox Mulder, I said the X-Files.
Oh, I don't know. I never did watch that when I was younger. I never had time to watch
I think
it.
News Nation is kind of a relief to see what they're doing.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. They're leading the way on this, News Nation, for the UAP UFO stuff.
Overall, they're pretty well balanced.
Yeah. That's my new news program. It is News Nation. But don't take my word for it. Google or go into YouTube. Type in UAP UFO congressional hearings. Watch these hearings starting in 2019. And what has come out in these hearings is our elected officials are doing really nothing about it. They're holding hearings, but that's it. Let me tell you what they could do. When these generals get up there and tell the elected officials, we don't have to tell you nothing, you don't have clearance. Really. You know who can make these generals and the leaders of the Air Force and NASA and all that, you know who can make them tell what's going on? A grand jury hearing. That's what our Congress needs to do. They have the power to convene a criminal grand jury hearing, put these people under oath, and you ain't pleading the fifth. If you do, you're fired and you're losing your security clearance. That's not being done. So even though Congress, on the media, look at me, I'm doing something, I'm going after these people, I'm yelling at them and, all this stuff, they haven't really done anything. And nobody's been fired. And this keeps happening. It keeps happening. This, to me, that is the good question, thank you. That, to me, is the biggest story. It should be headlines on every news thing every day, and it's just not. Hey! Artie! That's my brother. He's my brother. There's food back there. Okay, any other questions? I hope I answered that one okay. I didn't mean to go on about that, but I think it is. It's important what this 700-acre landfill is, this UAP UFO story. Another one. Okay, here we go. Put my glasses on. Okay.
So, I'm not well versed in this, nor am I educated. But what does it take for our fiscal court to have a special ballot or vote so that our voices can be heard. Look, I feel
In
that,
reference to what, the landfill?
sorry, yes, in reference to the landfill, PFAS specifically, what does that take?
They're already doing it. Our physical court, Judge Green, the county attorney, my husband, and one other, they are on this coalition to fight this. They're officially on it. That's where he's at right now. They're having a meeting to approve jumping in and ponying up some money with the other cities and counties to hire this expert on landfills, expert who can fight it and square off against this guy in federal court, because that's what it's going to take. So they're already doing it. And you know what? We should be quite proud of our, see what I'm saying? Not all elected officials are brought up, I'm telling you. I was so proud yesterday at that meeting at noon, all those elected officials, especially the guy from Huntsville. The mayor of Huntsville, he's my new hero. He squared off with this guy, Bearcat guy. I mean, he just like, he goes, well, pretty much threatened him. And so the Bearcat guy, or the Huntsville mayor said, well, we may be just throwing good money after bad. But he leaned forward and goes, well, we're going to throw it. He goes, we're fighting this. And I'm like, yes! So, you do have there's a lot of good public officials, there's a lot of, I know this book, and I say this in the book, I know the book is like, you read it and you're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Everybody's corrupt, everybody's killing everybody and everything. Okay. But I'm still the glass is half full. There's still a lot of good out there fighting the bad. Did you have another question?
Well, no, thank you for the clarity. But I think the residents of McCrory County, if and they are aware of it, would definitely want their voice to be heard.
Well, I got to say this, Eugenia Jones, she has done an excellent job. She has done 3 articles on this, excellent articles. Also, Shane Gilreath, who worked up here, now he works down in Scott County, he has covered this, amazing job covering this too. So, and last week's physical court in this, it's going on right now, they're talking about this again right now. The last physical court they had, this was brought up, it was a special court, and that's why it was a special meeting, so we could vote, so they could vote to join the coalition. So it's been in the newspaper. We just did a show on it, didn't we, Michael Mann? Last Monday night, we did a whole show on this, the 700-acre mess. So it's been in the paper. We've done shows on it. Right now, it's going to be on YouTube tomorrow. I don't know what else we can do to educate the public. We're doing our best to try to get it out there. And you guys can tell everybody, hey, everybody you see, hey, did you know about that 700-acre landfill that's going to poison us all? I think, bleachate gets out. Talk to them about that.
Yeah, sorry. And with that being said, I think the residents should be secure and confident in what the hard work is going on behind the scenes, such as tonight, and all of your hard work that's been documented, proven, and exposed, and or disclosed to us. So we all say thank you, or would say thank you upon their knowledge coming to them. But I think we demand some type of confidence or security moving forward that our water is safe. And if our governor or state legislature is approving this, I would like to see us have funding for mandated testing, that we have visibility to our water system, to make sure, not just for myself or loved ones that I care about, but for all of our loved ones and everyone we care about, we know that our water is safe. So if their voice could be heard, I was thinking, like, put a vote on the ballot, saying, hey, do we demand this? Do you vote yes or no, yea or nay?
Your legislature would have to do that, and your legislature is absolutely complicit in this too. They've done nothing. What's happened is local municipalities, people have filed suit against the state of Kentucky. There's suits going on, okay? That's how, unfortunately, that's how this is going to get resolved, or not. The problem is, as we're sitting here today, this stuff's still reaching in. There's Maracat, we got to stop up there after 60 million plus gallons. There's little Maracats all over the place. So that's the problem. This leachate thing is a problem. The industry, you got to understand, it's not just about the multi-billion-dollar trash industry, okay? When you look at his proposal, like for his permit, he's got rail coming in. Okay, you're talking another multi-billion-dollar industry. Then he's got tanker trucks coming in, okay? You add all that together, that's this, okay? And this buys a lot of politicians. That's the truth. And that's part of what's going on here. What you need to do is call your state rep, call your state senator, find out who they are, and just, I want to know what's going on here. What are you doing? Are you passing, have you written any legislation to stop this? No, I can tell you right now they haven't. There's no legislation to stop this. It's just, it's horrible.
Do you,
Go ahead.
do you have a map or an area that shows where that landfill's gonna be?
Not with me. We do. We have it. We have his proposal. I posted that. I posted that in the copy. His proposal,
Is it in a strip pit or something?
no, it's 700 acres that he's going to turn into a landfill, and Bear Creek runs right through it. That's the problem. So, let me, this young man here, somebody gave me a question. Out of,
Oh, he wants to know about the percentages of people's deaths with these chemicals, he wants to know.
well, I'll tell you this, yeah, good question, thank you, good question. The state of Kentucky right now, guess who leads the nation in the state of Kentucky for all cancers? No, I mean, guess who leads the nation? What state leads the nation for all cancers? Kentucky. Guess what area in Kentucky leads the whole nation? What area in Kentucky leads the whole nation for cancers related to PFAS? The Cumberland Basin. That doesn't tell you there's something wrong here. You know, I don't know what else I can do to convince anybody. Go ahead, Michael.
If in the event that we are not able to stop this, can Bear Creek be rerouted?
I have no idea. That's a good question. I wouldn't know. Bear Creek's pretty big. I mean, it looks, I've looked at his proposal and it looks, you see Bear Creek, it's not like this little trickle of water. It's a pretty good sized creek, so I don't know. I don't know.
It'll still leach on down through.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, Bear Creek wasn't there, you still got the runoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still
You know,
where the water came.
water comes down and it goes downhill.
Right.
Leaches through, it goes.
So, we need your help. We are forming, okay, there's the, I call it the Politicians Coalition. That's all the governments getting together, fighting it, and hiring a lawyer. We're forming a citizens coalition. I have posted when and where that meeting is. It's next Tuesday at 6 o'clock in Scott County, and I forget the address, but if you go on my Facebook page, I'll repost it again. Please come to this meeting. We need people from McCreary County showing up too. We did have some people from McCreary County showing up, but we need more. If you guys can at all show up to this Citizens Coalition, that would help.
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night.
Where?
It's in Scott County, and I think it's the Christian Center. I'll post it again on my Facebook page. I can't remember where it's at, the address off the top. I should have had that with me. I apologize. I should have brought that with me. But it's next Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, Scott County. I will post it again on my Facebook page. Any more questions? I appreciate you guys all showing up. Thank you so much.